everybody, Jeanne Bellew here with Duffels and Dogs. How are you today? Pura Vida from Costa Rica. Before we get started on today's beach talk, I would like to thank all of our viewers. I want to thank all of the folks who have subscribed, all the folks that are sending us wonderful comments and questions about our adventure here in Costa Rica. And I want to welcome everybody who's not a subscriber and let you know that we would appreciate a subscribe. So click the icon at the top of the page there to subscribe, the bell icon, and you'll be notified of any future beach talks or any other videos that we do. And again, we appreciate it. So thank you. Let's see. So today's beach talk, I'm going to start out with a quote from Tim Ferriss. And if you guys are not familiar with Tim Ferriss, he's done a lot of stuff, but the author of the 4-Hour Workweek, which you may have heard about. If you don't know that book or are not familiar with it, I highly recommend you pick up a copy and read it. It's probably one of my, it's definitely a staple for me. So it's somewhat of a Bible to those of us who want to take control of our work life and our life, and live the life that we want, and still be able to make a living and work online where we want, when we want, with whom we want. So I'm going to start out with a quote from him, and it goes like this. So it's not a quote as something he said. So reality is largely negotiable. So think about that for a minute. Reality is largely negotiable. And what he said about that was, if you stress test the boundaries and experiment with the impossible, and that impossible is in quotes, impossible, you'll quickly discover that the most limitations are a fragile collection of socially reinforced rules, again, quote, rules, that you can choose to break at any time. Well, I'm going to pause there for a second. So I just want that to sink in a little bit. Reality is largely negotiable. And I think, and when I read that, and reflected on it, I went, yeah. I mean, and again, I think that the rules that he's talking about are the paradigms that we're stuck in, or the paradigms that we have grown up with, that we're embedded in, that we can't necessarily get out of, or don't even know we're in them, right? But again, you've heard me say this before, but one of the biggest paradigms that I think everybody can relate to is what we grew up with is, hey, get a great education, do well in school, get a great job, work for 30, 40 years, retire and, live in comfort for the rest of your life. And that's a little bit shortened version of it, but there you go. And I grew up with that. And whether it was, my parents saying that directly, or what society was saying, or the conversations that we were in, that was it, right? And that's a paradigm, and we get stuck in those, and we take those paradigms as something that's real, or that's well, I can't just quit my job and work online and move to Costa Rica. I've had people say, well, why not? And they come up, well, I've got responsibilities, I've got a job, I've got a mortgage. So there's a lot of, I read that, and that really resonated with me, and I wanted to share that all of that is a social construct, and it's not true. I'm not saying it's bad or good, and it's absolutely served me well up to a point. But I can tell you, we live in those as if it's a rule, whether unspoken or not, and it's buried in the paradigms that we've grown up with and live with, and are and are society driven. And I'm not talking about rules like laws and things like that. I'm just talking about the paradigms, and I believe that's what Tim's talking about. So I just wanted to bring that up in the speech talk, and bring that up as a discussion topic. So I'd love to hear from you guys and your comments. Let's discuss that. What are your thoughts? So I invite you to join in on the conversation about, reality is largely negotiable, and, taking control of life and, breaking the rules a little bit might just be what the doctor ordered, not only for, your happiness, but also for your health and, living the rest of your life the way that you want. So just throwing it out there. So guys, look forward to hearing your comments. Thank you for joining Beach Talks today. James Bellew here, Duffels and Dogs, Costa Rica, Playa Potrero behind me. It's a gorgeous day. It is the rainy season, but today doesn't look like it's raining. So everybody, thanks again for joining. Pura Vida. See you next time on Beach Talks.